We all want to be young. It's attractive. It's an explosion of hormones. It's sexy. Healthy.
Don't take drugs! Don't take drugs!
Well, maybe not. But there's more. Young people represent new languages and behaviors, and they're directly influencing consumer habits. They're positioned at the top of the influence pyramid, and are aspirational to those younger than them, and inspirational to the older. Today's young generation, known as Generation Y, G, because this important role of the youth today has its roots precisely in the baby boomer generation. They were born in the post-World War II, in the 40s and 50s. Insecure and impatient, they pushed for big changes. They were the first generation to conquer the right to be young, inventing what came to be and streets. Because of this, they were nicknamed Liberated Youth. From the outside, it seemed they were a little nutty, but the talk of peace, love, free sex, and flower power stayed influencing behavior till today. And actually, all of that must have been pretty fun. And speaking of fun, we can't forget about Generation X. Born in the 60s and 70s, they enjoyed the rights conquered by the baby boomers, living a guilt-free search for pleasure.
Life moves pretty fast. If you don't
Generation X is in love with stereotypes, fed by marketing and publicity boom. As much as in the corporate universe as in entertainment, Generation X is remembered as the competitive youth.
It's not just a job for him, it's a war.
But now is a whole different game. Young people have changed the rules again.
From a mess to the masses, from this to mania, take less but see it grow. Like a rider, not easily offended. No one to let it go. From a mess to the masses, follow misguided, stand still, discouraged. On
This isn't happening by pure coincidence. Globalized consumerism promotes aesthetic and behavioral connections with other youth around the world. The internet is allowing personal content to gain stratospheric dimensions, where everything can be remixed.
Whoa, that's a full rainbow.
In a few days, content can turn into various global internet memes.
Yellow rainbow all the way across the sky. Yeah, yeah.
He's climbing in your windows, he's snatching your people up, trying to rape them, so y'all need to hide your kids, hide your wife, hide
Also
your kids.
acquiring relevance outside of the network. Obviously, all of this has consequences. The excess of information and possibilities is causing this young generation to have what millennials are saying. That's because they've developed a non-linear way of thinking that exactly reflects the language of the internet, where an infinity of subjects can be followed at the same time. For these millennials, it is natural to start out with something and end up in somewhere else. But do not panic, it's organic. Today is cool to know and be various things at the same time. It's a lot different than in the 80s when young people had radical vision about the power of groups. You were one thing or another. In the 90s, the power of the tribes was no longer such a cool thing to be associated with. Some started calling themselves neutralizing differences. It is cool to express them.
All the single ladies, 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 all the single ladies.
It is possible to be a surfer, DJ, rocker, nerd, cinephile, designer at the same time. We're talking about the most plural youth generation in history. More and more, they want to unite work with pleasure. But that's not so they can achieve a hedonistic lifestyle. Pleasure comes in pre-programmed breaks. Young millennials are pragmatic. They're also more realistic. Their big idols aren't the most idealized figures, but instead are common people who realize small possible dreams that aren't utopic. They are the faces of the new economy, ruled by today consider natural behavior. You can understand and take part, or comfortably sit and follow along. In the end, to be young is sexy and fun, but it's a lot more than that. It comes with questions and big ambitions. If you think you already know enough and are at peace with your place in the world, well then congratulations, you're officially dead. More than ever before, in order to understand the world, it is necessary to understand these youths, who are the catalysts to big changes. And there is an added bonus. To understand the evolution of the world is a search that can keep us young forever.